What's going on? We are live in New York City. It's Kevin Kenny. This is the Build Series, and our guest today is an Ariah-certified platinum-selling act who has been streamed over 150 million times around the world. Please, another round of applause for our guest, the Jungle Giants.
Thank you.
That's pretty good. I didn't know about that stat.
It's a lot of streams. Yeah.
Wow.
A couple.
Stu, our manager, Stu, never really tells us stuff like this. You should be our manager.
I should. Or your alarm clock, we joke on the show.
Or just our ego booster.
Yes, exactly. For those down days, I can be there just reciting your stats.
That'd be great.
Alexa, can you explain, this might be a silly question, but for the stateside audience watching, what is Ariah? It's an award show, but then it's also like, I always see it sort of attached to accomplishments. Is it like part Grammys, part Billboard? Like, how would you describe Ariah?
Aria.
Oh, it's Aria?
Oh, yeah. They're like a, It's kind of
Yeah.
like I guess, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
Is it like the charts down?
Yeah, they-
down
the
in
charts.
Australia?
The
Okay.
charts.
They certify it.
Right.
Like the-
But there's
the
also an award
Australian
show, right?
standard.
But we've never been.
Yeah, we've never been invited because we're independent, and usually they have an independent category, and they
Okay.
never ever invite independent actual bands.
But
to
you guys
that,
are platinum on
Yeah.
their charts.
Yeah, and you know what? We
It's
don't
bullshit.
really care about.
Yeah, there you go.
We do what we do, and like I think that the way the Australians they structure that award show, I think it's like it's not about how independent or people like I don't mean to sound silly or anything, but
Yeah.
I don't think that they are actually structured to really support independent artists at all.
Yeah, it's not a true reflection of like the musical climate.
Yeah, and
But also, I guess there's a lot of Australian bands doing really well, so that's kind of a thing as well.
exactly.
That's a
No,
great
I see.
thing.
I don't mean to sound bitter and weird.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Australian bands doing really well. I mean, like with bands like Tame Impala and
King Gizzard.
King Gizzard. Like, there's so many great Australian bands. So it's good to be recognised in. Well, it's good to be part of a big pack. I mean, obviously, like people like Tones and I get like a big say at the moment, and like so that's really cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, that song, Tones and I, the Dance Monkey, that's doing incredibly well stateside, but that's like breaking records in Australia, right?
Yeah, it's mental. Actually, our friend.
My housemate produced that song.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he co-mixed Heavy Hearted with
Oh, no
me.
way.
Yeah. His name's Constantine Kirsting,
Constantine Kirsting.
and he's an amazing guy.
How common is that in the Australian music scene? Is it close knit like that?
Super common. It's
Yeah.
it's like borderline incestual. Everyone works with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like does. the
It's
job
so
with it. Yeah,
tight.
It's
And-
very close knit.
I remember like Constantine like talking to me like as we were doing Heavy Hearted. He's like, I did this song with this girl called Tones and I, and like all this stuff's going on right now. Like I'm getting all these emails and stuff's going on. I was like, I've never heard the song. Can't wait to hear it. He was like, everything's kind of changing for me at the moment. And then like, it's so funny, like 3 weeks later, I was like, oh, the Tones and I, that song.
And like in the mail, in our mailbox, I was like, oh, dude, you got some mail. And it was like a gold like plaque from like the UK.
Yeah.
And like this it's like this Aria like equivalent thing. He was like, open it. I was like, dude, that is so cool.
Yeah.
It's a good mail day,
Yeah.
for sure.
We're all so proud of him.
Yeah,
That's so
good.
cool.
Shout out to Con.
Let's take it back to square one with you guys, though. You guys all met in high school, right? For
Yep.
starters.
Yeah.
Well, I met
Okay.
Keelan in primary school,
Yeah.
but
We've
Oh,
We
really?
were in the same grade 2 class. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
he bullied me actually.
We've been. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was bigger than me back then, so times have changed.
Yes. Yes.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Dooris and Cesira, you dated like in super primary school.
No, not primary school. It was year 10. So that was pretty cool actually, because I like to think of myself as a bit of a talent scout. So so what happened was Cesira walked into our year 10 music class,
Screaming.
and she was like new to the school and like super shy. And I just went and sat right next to her, and I was like, "This chick's gonna be
You were
cool."
like, want
I
to
can
smash?
No, I was like, "This chick's gonna be cool." And also, I feel bad for her because everyone's a bit too afraid to talk to her. And then the first thing she said was like, "I play guitar," and then we hit it off.
Hit it off from there.
Yeah.
Boom.
And we held hands, and it was like super cute.
What got you into guitar at an early age?
My parents saying no to me playing drums.
Okay.
I was like, that was the next best thing. I was like, can I play guitar, please? And that was kind of it. I was like 11 years old and I was just like obsessed. Like I think my dad was like, "Can you please stop playing Seven Nation Army, please?" I was like, "But I can play this only song." Like, it was
At least it wasn't smoke on the water.
yeah, it wasn't Smoke on the Water.
We've had plenty of Australian artists on the show, but I feel like they're largely very pop leaning. And of course, there's a great sort of history or tradition there of pop artists coming out of Australia. What were your musical influences growing up? Because it sounds like there's just an eclectic mix of things going into the music that you give us.
I think you should lead this one, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, like it's progressed as we've grown and as I've grown as a producer and as a writer. I think originally one of the biggest ones was a band called Cloud Control, and also Two Door Cinema Club. Yeah. They just changed everything for me. I remember like being on a bus going to school, and hearing them and being like, I want to be in a band. I want to make music just like this. I want to do this, and then just listen to them over and over and over again, and then started learning guitar. And then it started from there. And then soon from there, it turned a lot into Bon Iver. And Bon Iver kind of changed everything for me. It got a little more kind of detailed and more nuanced. And then more quickly, as like I got better at producing and understanding music, it got one of my biggest influences still to this day is James Murphy from LCD Soundsystem. I mean, he probably lives here or he's in the Caribbean or something now. But James Murphy, to me, is like one of the best producers / writers that I think he really like. I feel like his tool belt is writing and music, and he married them so perfectly. Because I do think that writing music and producing should be reflected at the same time. You know,
What do you mean by that?
I feel like one thing that that I learned quite recently that I just think is important. I mean, maybe I'll change my opinion on this in like a couple of years, but at the moment, I think that you should understand how you want your music to be heard as it's written. So after it's written, you should say like, oh, well, also I want this to be like really fat, and then I should learn how to make this really fat. Or, you know, with Heavy Hearted, I was like, I want this to build up, so I want this to thin out. And I was like, you know, James Murphy taught me a lot about like producing as you're writing, and so he would either take an instrument out because he's quite minimal, or he would add automation and he would thin out like the kick or the snare. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing. I learned that as an instrument. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I guess what Sam's talking about is that there's often a distinction between songwriting and production. And so it's more and more in the modern world as production stuff becomes less expensive and it's like not as hard to do that. You can incorporate production stuff in songwriting techniques, and there's more of a blurry line there. And Sam's saying
and more fun to be had.
Yeah, more fun to be had, and so those two ideas of production of a song, which is like how a song is heard or consumed, or like how it literally sounds. Because in the past, people didn't like.
Yeah,
the songwriter wasn't the person who gave any sort of
Yeah.
care.
People
about
used to just
that.
have producers.
Producer, yeah,
like,
that was what a producer did. But
Yeah.
now more and more people making songs are producers, if that makes sense. And how those two feed back into each other is really, really interesting and creates important stuff. And it's been a huge thing for Sam.
I remember Sam saying he said he wanted to economize on the sounds and production and not like overcrowd like the tracks and the instruments in the song. So it's like I want it to sound like everything is like really well written and really well produced, rather than like crowding it with like all these other instruments. And it was like it definitely sounded like that in comparison to like Quiet Ferocity.
Yeah.
It was like completely like really well thought out and economized every instrument, rather than like adding everything over the top.
When you guys talk about how the song sounds, what is the mixing process like for you guys? Like, I think sometimes of like, do you want to listen to the record on crappy headphones as well as studio speakers, as well as, because there's so many different consumption methods today. Do you put a lot of thought into that?
Yeah. So Constantine and I, we mix together, and we have like a 3-step system We have these beautiful speakers that he has in his studio that are amazing, like $1 million speakers. Like, yeah, they sound awesome. But we always make sure we don't trust those speakers. And we always make sure we turn off the sub, because the sub makes the song sound amazing when the bass is kicking. He's got these old car speakers that he converted it just into like little monitors, like from a really old, terrible car. And he's got them up there. And so like we always cross-check with that. So we just get treble and we just get high mids, and we always check if that will sound good in someone's terrible car. Because a lot of people just will listen to music on the radio. And then we also listen to it on a tiny Bose speaker, almost more than anything else, because most people listen to music on Bose speakers.
Yeah.
Like,
or like Apple
actually,
earbuds, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
actually, that's another thing. When I'm mixing it, like I try to get like the thinnest, tinniest
Like
headphones,
Apple-
because Apple
headphones.
earbuds are not that good, but so many people use them, but they're thinny, and they're tinny.
yeah.
But
Or even at the
you
end
have
of
to,
an iPhone.
yeah, you have to understand.
iPhone headphones.
You have to understand how people are listening to your music, and you have to mix it according to that.
Yeah.
The old rule of thumb used to be, though, like putting it on great, big, amazing speakers would translate down, but the other way doesn't work. So, like, mixing on tiny, terrible things
Yeah.
won't translate to if you bring it out to a bigger system. That was the old rule of thumb, but it's just now you have to make sure that everything sounds. I mean, you can find a middle ground between all of these different systems, and
Even
Yeah.
if it sounds good on
And
like
Sam and
just
Con-
your iPhone though.
yeah, and even just at the bottom of an iPhone, because like we all know that like at the end of a night when the Bluetooth speaker is just like dead,
Yeah.
it's just some dude.
Big night.
Some dude, an iPhone, and like a cup, and you're all just sitting around like, oh God, yeah, this cup is really getting that low end out,
I'm triggered by you saying a cup.
It gets dark
So
out there,
good.
Is it true you were a top 20 gamer in the world once upon a time?
How do you know this? It is true, and I was top 18.
Top 8.
And-
Excuse me.
What I was I used to play a game called RuneScape. Has anyone ever played RuneScape or heard of RuneScape? It is like as nerdy as it gets. Yeah.
Clapping for
A fellow scaper. For some reason, I got so I have a very addictive personality, and I used to play RuneScape when I was younger, and there was a skill on it that was really hard, and no one wanted to do it. So I
Mining.
decided to spend. It was mining, and I spent all my time. I spent like 500 to 1,000 hours just doing it in secret. And I would wake up before school because I knew
Closet
like it
miner.
was super nerdy. I was closet miner. And you know what was the funny thing? I used to listen to just like top 40 radio as I'd do it. And I would just mine, and then my mum would like come in to like, get up, wake up for school. I'd be like, okay, I'm waking up now. But I'd been playing this game
be
for
mining.
hours. Yeah. And then I used to play so I used to just sleep for just like 4 hours a night, and I used to play this game. And it was insane. I was just so addicted. And then one day I had to stop. So I just went up in the game, and I gave a character in the game everything I had, and then I just changed my password without looking, and then just ended it.
Cold turkey.
I went cold turkey.
Until he
I do that
So
with things.
Until he
ceremonious.
relapsed like 3 years ago. That was hilarious. So Sam and a good friend of ours, Louis, like
Oh yeah,
got back into RuneScape at like 23.
yeah. We started again, but yeah. I mean, my girlfriend Grace was like, "Sam, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, you were a bit crazy about this." And I was like, "No, I'm just gonna play for a bit." And then I just like, it'd be like 2 a.m, and I'd be like, "I have to stop again." And I'd just like, yeah.
I'm curious, what songs you're listening to Top 40 Radio when you're playing this as a kid? Like, what songs are connotative of that game for you?
So many things. I actually think, like deep down, I think it like, as a kid, you don't really listen to that much pop music. Maybe you do like in the car with your family, but doing that, I spent like 2,000 hours just listening to pop music. Then when I started making music, I was like, yeah, well, obviously we'll go from the verse and then go to the bridge, and then we'll build up to a pre-chorus, then we'll go to the chorus, and then post-chorus, and then people are like, what? And I was like, oh. You didn't know that
Subconscious
people
study.
do that, like, and I just like did a subconscious study on it, and that's a funny thing is like after all that gaming, after all that, maybe it helped me make music in some way, but I like to think of it that maybe I achieved something by spending 5,000 hours mining in the dark in my
RuneScape
parents' computer
taught you
room.
Do you guys have any like secret obsessions similar to this?
Nothing that dark, no.
What about a guilty pleasure from each of you?
Nothing that lonely. John May is a guilty pleasure.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
John May is awesome. Why would
Yeah.
he be a
wait,
guilty?
why, why would John be
Because-
guilty?
yeah.
Oh no,
Or you
he's
just love
like,
John Mayer?
Yeah, he's dorky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I play guitar, so it's like, of course you fucking love him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's probably about it.
Okay.
Oh, and fish fingers.
Oh,
fish
you
fingers.
love
Oh,
fish fingers.
Guilty pleasure.
Are those like fish sticks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
right on.
And just
Cool.
mayo and salt. It's dope.
Gross.
It's gross.
I think mine's like smoky barbecue sauce. These guys will like pay me out to the end of the earth for that.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like the worst tasting sauce of all time.
I didn't mean to make it food based, but
Yeah, but
but
that's the
fish fingers
easiest.
I
We're a bit of a foodie band
love.
as well, so it's not like it's just not a very refined taste, is it?
my housemates make fun of me for eating fish fingers. So
Yeah.
I,
Put
own, I have to own
barbecue
it.
sauce on the fish fingers.
No.
In a private duck time, yeah.
While
probably.
mining.
While we're playing RuneScape
I
at like
won't
4 in
allow
the
it.
morning.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it to the audience here in New York. The first question is going to come from somewhere. Here.
I think from here. Hello, I'm Molly. Great
Hi.
to see you guys.
Hello.
So you talked a little bit about the production process for your latest single, and I guess I was really curious about how the songwriting and creative process for your latest album, I guess, compares to your prior LPs.
Well, it's as different as it's ever been. It's Quiet Ferocity was. I spent like maybe 100 hours just in a studio on my own, like making tunes, and I used to do these things called listening parties, where I'd invite the band, and I would be so nervous, and I would make like mojitos for everyone, and I'd spend hours like getting it right.
They were super cute, to be
And
honest.
I'd put on like lasers and like put on a little disco light, and then be like, okay, everyone come in, and then I'd put on like 5 songs, and then I would just stare at their faces the whole time and be terrified about, if they loved it or if they didn't. And that's how they heard the whole record. And then this new record is kind of song by song. And at the moment I'm working on the record, but I've been releasing songs. And it's been such a different process, but I think after learning more about trusting myself and believing more in a production method, that like I guess I've got a vision here for this record. So I'm releasing songs that are part of a final product, but I'm trying to make each song suggest something different that leads to that final thing. So the record technically isn't done, but the production, like the way it's working now, is I'm just showing the band like one song at a time, and I'm going, this is it. I really hope you love it. I really hope you love it,
And every time Sam plays us a song, we always love it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that good. Like, it's so cool. Like, when you go to, like, the demo room and Sam plays us, like, a batch of demos, we're like, these are dope. And we all just, like, dance on the couch and, like, pick one that we like the most. Be like, that should be the single. He's like,
It's always,
prolific.
it's always been more about making a cohesive image of all the songs that Sam's created. I guess one of the other big differences between the previous records and this one will be that Sam is taking on much more of a hefty workload. In the past, we've all been a part of the recording process, and this time around, everything that you're hearing is Sam by himself in a studio, sweating, blood, sweat, and tears, probably crying. I don't know what else he's doing in there, to be honest. But
Just mining.
and then
A lot of this comes back to
And,
Sam in dark rooms. by himself.
yeah. And so
It's a common theme here.
yeah.
He's used
And
to
so,
it.
like, it's just, like, we're always in awe and so proud of Sam for his work ethic and everything like that. And it just kind of became obvious that giving him complete free rein to do exactly as he pleases and to support him and create and shape through just through support, the image of the band is probably best where our skills lie.
And
And translating that live as well is kind of what we do.
And vibe is always super important. So whenever we go to like a demo session with Sam, he's always like, "All right, everyone sit down. I'm gonna make margaritas. And we're gonna put these, and we're all gonna have a margarita.
Turn the
eat.
lights off.
Lights are gonna be off." And he's like, got this lighting situation. Like, it's like,
I'm glad the crazy lasers like have gone out of fashion now. That was a bit intense. Like 2 years ago, there was like these blinders that were like just flashing constantly, and I don't know. I might have a tendency towards anxiety, so it wasn't great for me. But otherwise, really good.
vibe-based demo sessions.
Yes,
Very important.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
But the band have been so supportive, you know, and like it's so funny. Like after a listening party, everyone responds in a different way. Some people are instant, like Cesira always is so instant. She goes, "I love this song," or you know, "This song sounds metallic to me. I want to like I can imagine this live. I want to see the blinders. I want to see you." You always give you like an instantaneous answer. Dooris, however, is much more of a far-ended response, and he'll kind of call me later and he'll go, "I like the songs, man." He won't say anything at the time though, so I'll be terrified that he hates the songs. You know, or he'll be as honest as ever. And like when we were choosing the song, like for Heavy Hearted as the first single, our manager, she was like, "You know, we've got a couple of songs that Sam's got together. Sam wants to do Heavy Hearted," and everyone was like, "Yeah, I like Heavy Hearted." Like Keelan was like, "I like Heavy Hearted. It's like a banger. It's like I love it." And the Sis was like, "It's metallic. I like it." Whatever that means, but I always love it when you say that.
I gunned for it pretty hard.
And then,
so definitely
but then Dooris, it was one of the best things. He was like, "I'm actually really scared that'll divide people," and I loved that he said that because that was being honest, and I think that that is a question that you should ask with each release, and I think that matters because you should know what effect your song will have, and deep down, if you think people will like it, maybe they will, but you have to know what kind of effect it will have on people. And when Dooris said, "I think that'll divide people," I was like, yeah, I actually think it won't, but I think what you've said is correct, and I think it is slightly dangerous, which makes me like it.
I did also say I liked it, to be fair.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I like that you said that, you know?
We're all equally as invested in the music that we put out, even though we have like, I mean, it's quite hard to just like create a division of labor with music and stuff like this, but these four people we're family, you know, and we're so invested in what we do, and it's just, I'm so proud to watch all of us grow together. So,
Which is an achievement in and of itself, you know, when you're in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we love each other so much.
Yeah.
this is great.
Everyone should be jealous. We love each other. It's beautiful.
Let's get to one final fan question here in New York. It'll come over here.
Mike from New York. How you doing? I was wondering, where did you guys come up with the name Giant Jungle? Jungle Giant. Sorry.
I know the moment.
Do you know the moment?
Yeah. So like we didn't realize that when you get a CD like an EP mastered, you need to have like a band name. And we were like, "Oh, we have time. And the first EP was getting mastered, and then Sam called me, and we were on a bus. Me and Dooris, maybe I think. And then
Are we on a bus?
Yeah. I was definitely on a bus, and we had this like list of just terrible band names, like the Petty Party.
No, the Pity Party.
Pity Party.
There's going to be one.
Bears in the
other
Attic.
Bears in the Attic. Oh my God, I'm so glad we
Bears in the Attic?
It's
Yeah, that was like
so
number
bad.
3 of the list.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely
there was like a
close.
bunch of other really terrible names. And then
so bad.
we didn't realize like when you're printing the CD, like you have to put it on the digital. You have to have
Yeah,
your
the
name.
DRM.
Like getting
So,
it mastered, we
yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
The
we
master
need
was
a
like,
band
"What's
name.
your name? What's your?" And we were like,
Jungle
It's called the
Giants."
Jungle Giants. We'll go that one. That
And then
one.
it was just so fun. We're like, okay, that's the band name now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
I think
That was
I think
kinda
it's
close to
10.
It's great 'cause
10
like
years.
Yeah,
I'm
you
I'm
get
still
kinda-
happy with it.
9 years ago.
I'm cool with it.
9
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
I mean, what is a name really anyway?
It's so bad. Whenever you tell people who don't know the band, they're like, "You're like Jungle Giants." They're like, "Cool. It sounds like a shit band." Like,
Oh, do you hate it?
No, it just like sounds so like childish. Like it's
Yeah.
so it's like cute.
But
and they're
it's
like if
changed
they
now.
don't know
It's
the
like
band.
kind of become its own its own identity.
I don't
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
It's lost. It's lost all of it for me. It's just when you say a word too many times and you just like
It's just,
loses
yeah.
all meaning.
Power's gone now.
I heard that the Foo Fighters hate that band name. So
I mean,
I feel a
if
bit
I
bad
was the
about
Foo
that.
Fighters, I would hate that
Yeah.
too. To be honest, no disrespect, but
Speaking of bands, before we go, because we're almost out of time, maybe the most important question I can ask you guys: have we made amends with Arcade Fire yet?
What?
for smashing Sam in ping pong.
No, you know about what I
Your
did?
thumb,
How do you know about this?
dude. You gotta stop talking about it.
Have I talked to? Oh my god!
What?
I don't even know about this.
I'm still. Still feel a
Is this
deep
a sore
shame.
subject?
Okay, no, I mean like I haven't made amends. When we first did Big Day Out, I love Arcade Fire.
Big day out, a big festival in Australia.
now defunct.
I
Rest
saw
in peace.
Win from Arcade Fire, the big, massive, tall, beautiful man, and I went up to him. And I was like, "Hey, I'm from the Jungle Giants. Like, we're like 18. I love your band. I love you." And I just said, "I love you." He was like, "Thanks, man," and then left it at that. But then I couldn't leave it at that. So him and his band were kind of dancing. It was their after party, and we'd been secondhand invited. So I kind of danced up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to dance up. I'm going to dance with Arcade Fire, and they're going to love me, and I'm going to just be in their group. And then I just kind of, I think Win looked at me, and I did some big moves, and then I just popped my arm out, and then my finger went like this, and my thumb went like that, and then it just got completely wet for a second. And then I felt this like terrible, like a hard but wet thing. And I looked back, and the drummer from Arcade Fire was holding his eye. And he was so, like, I'd stuck my finger in his eye.
You eye gouged him.
I eye gouged him so, but without looking, in like a trying to be cute dance move. And then, like, almost the DJ went, "Choo-choo-choo," and like everyone was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And then it was like one of the worst moments of my life. I was like, "I'm so sorry, Arcade Fire." And I wanted to give them a different name. Like, my name's Steven, and
And
like
I
I'm
don't
from
play
the
in a band.
Spangle Giants. But anyway, like I said, like, I'm so sorry, and then he kind of just carried off, and then they just kind of didn't really talk to me at all that whole night, and I need to apologize. I mean, I did apologize, but I need to clear
assaulted
that up.
one of their band members.
But it was it was a dance move accident. It was a dance move.
Fine.
It was
That's
a dance
that's
move.
a full technical foul, dude. You can't do that.
Okay.
It was simply a
Mind your
dance move
thumbs,
gone
man.
wrong. Yeah.
Like
I-
what dance move
I
were
love that
you
you
doing
thought
though?
you
It was
thought you were
try-
cool
it was
enough to
trying to
like
be
dance
cool.
with the band. You're like, I'm cool. Like these guys like me, and you're like, nearly gouged the guy's eyes out.
Yeah. I always dance without thumbs now. Just do the robot.
You want to issue the formal apology now, maybe?
To Arcade Fire, I'm so sorry about your drummer's eye. It was not my fault. It was the rhythm of the night. And please, let's dance again sometime.
Bravo. Very nice. Well, you guys are on the road right now. In closing here, you're doing a show in Boston this week, and then you're going to be back in New York, where we are right now, for Bowery Ballroom on the 7th, which is Friday. And a bunch of other dates are probably online, right?
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yep.
Right on.
It's all on our website, on our Instagram. Just like hit that link, y'all.
Bearsintheattic.com.
Yeah. or the pity party.
Guys, give it up for the Jungle Giants. one
Thank
more
you so
time.
much.
Thank you, guys.